Welcome to the SuccessFactors Recruiting Enablement sessions. Today we will be covering the roadmaps for recruiting. So I'm going to share my screen. I am in the Admin Center page. This is where I will be able to configure new roadmaps and take a look at the roadmaps that already exists in my instance. So a roadmap specifies the order in which a form moves from one user to another and what users can do during each one of the steps. In recruiting, we use the roadmaps to determine the approval path of a new requisition. The requisition is really the only form within recruiting that uses the roadmaps functionality. Keep in mind that the roadmaps functionality, it is a platform feature. So that means that not every functionality within the roadmaps is applicable to recruiting. It may be applicable to other modules, but not every single piece of the functionality will be applicable to recruiting. So to take a look into the roadmaps page, let's type here in the tool search, manage roadmaps. And the system is prompting me with this option. I'm going to click on it. And I am going to land on the roadmaps page. So as you can see, I have a list of roadmaps here on the left-hand side. There are several roadmaps already created in my instance. I have this one that is applicable to recruiting. This is the one that I want to focus on, but you can also see that we have others for performance, 360, and so on. So the job requisition roadmap is the roadmap that I have created for my job requisition page. I can see here in this little checkbox in the active column that my roadmap is active. I can see the description of the roadmap, when it was updated, and then I can see here in the related templates column, by clicking on number 1, I can see that the standard job requisition template is using this job requisition roadmap. I could have several different job requisitions and all of them could be using the same roadmap, or I could have different job requisition templates using different roadmaps. It really depends on the requirements. It really depends on the processes that are defined for the company. So let me close this. I'm going to click here to take a look into this job requisition roadmap, and then later I can also show you how to create a roadmap from scratch. So by clicking here, I am able to actually look into this roadmap and see the setup that was done. Here in this roadmap field, I defined the name of the roadmap. I can also give it a description. I have the language drop down in case you have several languages enabled in your instance. You are able to create the roadmap, let's say in English US, which in my case is my default language, but then I can also add translations for the other languages. So if I have users, for example, using Spanish Mexico, I can add translations in Spanish Mexico, and then users will be able to see the roadmap in Spanish as well. Here on the left-hand side, I am able to see the steps of my roadmap. I have the create requisition, I have the recruiter review, and I have the completed step. By clicking in each one of the steps, I am able to actually see the setup that was done. So the very first field that I have here is the step name, which is already populated. So this is the create requisition step. So this is the text that will be displayed in the roadmap within the form, within the requisition. Then I have here the step description. So the description will give more context on the action that the user is about to take. This description will also appear in the to-do lists in the homepage. Then I have the step type, and the step type can be single role, interactive, or collaboration. So this will really depend on the requirements that you have for the approval of your job requisition. So the single role is when you want the form to be sent to a single approver. So for example, you want the requisition to be sent only to the hiring manager. You would pick the single role option here. The interactive step allows several users to work on a step. In this type of step, the form is sent to one user at a time, and that user sends the form to the other users specified in the step. The step type is the most commonly used when several users work on the step. If you use this type of step, you must also specify the rules to participate in the step. So for example, you can have the hiring manager and the hiring manager's manager working on the step. These two roles, the hiring manager and the hiring manager's manager, will be able to make edits and send the form back and forth to each other before routing the form to the next step. Then we have the collaboration step here, the last one that I have here. So this step type allows several users to work on a step. In this type of step, the form is sent to all users at the same time. The form appears in all users' inboxes, but only one user can work on it at a time. If you use this type of step, you have to specify the rules, so similarly to the interactive step. So again, let's take the example, the hiring manager and the hiring manager's manager are the roles that will participate in this step. Both of them will be able to access the form for a review or to take the action that is being asked of them. Looking at the rules section here, we can open this little drop down and I can select the rules that will be involved in this step. We have all the standard rules are available here. All the recruiting rules are available here. So let's say that, let's just delete this. Okay, let's just open this here. So let's say that you would like to use the recruiter, for example. You would type here the role R. You would select custom, and then you would select the role R. And if you open this little question mark here, you are able to see the custom codes that we use. So R for the recruiter in recruiting, W for the second recruiter in recruiting. We have the S for sourcer, the G for hiring manager, and so on. So you are able to use any of these roles. And you are also able to use relational rules. So for example, the hiring manager's manager or the recruiter's manager, for example. All of that is going to be available for you here. Then I have a few fields here. So start date, exit date, due date. Remember that I mentioned that the Routemap feature is a platform feature, so there are a few functionalities that are not applicable to recruiting, so these are examples of that. None of this is used for recruiting, so you can just leave this blank and not worry at all about this. So if I click here in the Show Advanced Options, as you can see, I have now several other options, several other configurations that I can do. So I have the step introduction and mouse over text. This is blank for me, but you could obviously add some information here. So this is what the users will see when they click in the information icon. And this text will only appear before the step is completed. So you would use this field to provide a brief description of what users are expected to do during the step. Then I have the step name after completion. So let's take a look up above. So my step name is create requisition. So what I'm trying to tell here is what is the name after this create requisition step happens. So the text that I picked was requisition created. So once this first step is completed, the requisition is created and is going to be sent to the next level, to the next approver in line. The step mode for recruiting is always full edit, so you don't need to change this. Then I have my exit button text. So this is the button that will appear at the bottom of the requisition page on the right-hand side. So once the user completes the job requisition and makes the review or adds the information in each one of the fields, and the requisition is ready to be sent to the next level of approval, this is the button that we will see. This is the label of the button, Send to Recruiter. So in my case, in my job requisition route map, I have the very first step as the create requisition, and then my second step will be send to the recruiter, or actually recruiter review. So I want my button to say send to recruiter. Then I have here the step exit text. So this is the text that will appear in the confirmation page once I click in the exit button. So if I click in the Send to Recruiter step button, I will be able to see a confirmation page, and in that page, this is the text that will appear. The requisition will now be sent to the recruiter to approve. I am also able to add a previous step exit button text. So if your configuration allows users to send a requisition back to the previous step, this is the label of that button. And this is going to be the text, the confirmation text. So if the user clicks on the previous step button, then there will be a page, a confirmation page, that the user will be able to just look at the information that it's in there and look at the text. If we had any text here, that will be the text that the user will be able to see on that page, and then the user will be able to confirm that yes, the requisition should be sent to the previous step, or just cancel everything. The next few fields are not applicable to recruiting, so you don't need to change any of these. The step ID is automatically generated by the system, so you don't need to worry about any of these fields. Taking a look at the second step here, I'm going to click here in the recruiter review. So as you can see, the page is fairly similar. The only thing that changes are really the labels or the texts, or here the step type and the roles, and then everything else is the same. So this step is my recruiter review. So I want my recruiter to review the job requisition to confirm that everything is ready. And once that is done, then the recruiter will be able to approve the requisition, and then the requisition will be able to be posted in the career sites. And then my last step is the completed step. So the completed step is a different, does not require a configuration. It's really a different type of step. So the only thing that we do is really to provide a step name, which will be completed, but no roles are being involved in this step, because this is really just the confirmation that all of the other steps were performed, and that the requisition is now ready to be posted because it was completed, it was approved by everybody in the workflow. So once you do all of that, all of the configuration is done, you are able to click here in the Save button, and you will be able to see the confirmation message, and you'll be able to see that your route map is now configured, is now created and ready to be used. So I'm just going to cancel this. I want to go back to the previous page. So again, this is my route map here. And then let's see if you want to create a brand new route map. You can click here in the Add New Route Map button. And then you would click here in the Build Your Own option. And this will take you to the exact same page where I was. But now you have to populate, you have to define your steps as I did before. So for the very first one, you want to click here in Add Step. You will give it a step name. So let's say Create Requisition. And then you will give it a OK. And then again, you have the possibility to define your step type, pick your roles, and then complete all of this here. If you need to create additional steps, you just have to click in the Add step. Remember that first you need to save the step, the first step, and select the rules. So I am just going to say, for example, custom O, which turns out to be my originator. So the system automatically is going to pick the originator. And then I am able to add my step 2. Let's say, for example, this is my step 2. And then I am able to continue my configuration here. And here is the advanced options. And then again, we just need to click here in the Save button. So now let's take a look into the requisition and see exactly what we have configured and take a look at the route map that exists. So I'm just going to open this one job requisition that I have here. And here at the top, you can see the route map that I have defined. So remember, my route map had 2 steps and then the completed one. So this is my first one, requisition created. And then I have my recruiter review. And then I have my completed step. Once these 2 steps are done, my requisition will be then completed and ready to be posted. As you can see, there's a little green check mark. This means that the step was already completed. So my first step was the requisition created, and you can see a check mark here. And then as you can see, the one that is highlighted is the one that we are in. So this requisition is now sitting under the recruiter review step, and the recruiter will be able to populate the requisition, add any information that is missing. And then if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we are able to see the buttons that we talked about before. So ready for posting. As a recruiter, once I finish populating the requisition, I am able to click here in the ready for posting. And I'm also able to send the requisition to the previous step